What is going on? Welcome on into today's trade recap. We have a red day. This is the fifth red day in a row, coming off 6 green days in a row. Now we are on to 5 red days in a row. And I don't want to say these are more meaningful, but they have been generally larger on average, most of these, than the average of that green streak, because that green streak, to be honest, as we were to go back last week, it really wasn't that good. A lot of partial take profits and whatnot. So I think what's telling is the total win rate on the month and stuff. However, it's not, I'm not that mad about it. But today you'll see some examples. I think that this was a day that future me probably doesn't trade. But I did. And the setups were not necessarily bad. There was one not to system that I will show you that I did trade, and that was the $33 loss. So we lost $75 or less. Like the average loss here is like $50, maybe. I don't know. Do the math on the average. It's not bad. But it's kind of one of those days where it's like you take a couple shots, just they all don't work, and you just kind of walk away. And that's it. Here's the deal. If I pull up what really was going on, we'll look at these individual trades in my notes in a second here on TradeZilla. But what I think is interesting is if I pull up the S&P, which is where I want to start, it gapped down, came back, went green. Now it's kind of trying to go back red. It's about flat. We're about to do our live stream like usual here for Power Hour on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But SPY's kind of at a key spot, and it's just hanging around this key level. It looks like it's trying to break below, but it's like kind of coming back. It's not clean. And what's really frustrating is that these trades today were calls, and so with this context, is that what you want to be doing? Is that the past me, future me probably tells me like, yeah, no. And in hindsight, I say, no, you probably didn't need to do that, right? Because the overall market hasn't proven to come back up. But when you've got stocks that are green, and one of them was substantially green, and also Tesla provides a setup that it did, it's tough to see those and say, I'm not trading those. You know what I mean? So I'll show you what I mean, I guess. Well, you don't know what I mean until I show you. So 9:16 a.m. Central Time, NVIDIA, we had, so here, okay. I also want to touch on this. So we've got 2 things. I'm gonna recap these inside of TradeZilla just because it's easier to do instead of jumping around. I'll move this up a bit more so you can see it, so I'm not blocking too much of it. But I do want to go to a 5. Yeah, we were on a 5-minute chart. So okay, what do you see here on this chart above me? I know it's white. I usually look at dark backgrounds, so maybe that's burning their eyes. Maybe it's not. Some people like the white. I personally don't, but I can see why. If you're looking at charts at night, I prefer the dark, but during the day, I don't think it matters that much. So what do I see? Like clearly to me, if I draw in my horizontal ray and I make this a fat width ray, what do I have? What I've got is a break. It's a classic flag to the upside. Not to mention, like, you have the 9 EMA and VWAP, I believe, that were right underneath where it bounced. So NVIDIA rips off the open, pushes up, rolls down, bounces off the 9 EMA VWAP, then it comes back. When it breaks that high, that's the buy, that's the breakout buy that I like to play. And it just didn't work. So based off of this, I thought of one other thing, right? If I pull up the custom down here, so I've been tagging my trades, and so we have 2 systems. Like this setup is fun. This setup is exactly what I would trade. Like NVIDIA, by the way, the reason why I justify trading on this day, despite the overall trend being down the past couple of days, right, is these stocks were up at the time of trading them. NVIDIA was very, very strong. Tesla, at the time I traded Tesla, it was one of the strongest, if not the strongest stocks at that moment, breaking out to the upside, breaking to a new high of the day. So that's why I took them. And NVIDIA and Tesla are 2 of the biggest beasts that can do, I don't say they do their own thing. They will move with the market to a degree, but those stocks, I have had great experience. My data tells me that those are the ones that when you get setups on the 5-minute chart, you take them. And so that's what it tells me. So that's what I decided to do. It's not like I'm sitting here doing random shit, like trading random stocks. No, this is the same, list of 10 stocks I trade every single week, and these are the top two, really. These are my favorite two. I mean, AMD's up there too. AMD's been a bitch the past couple of months, but AMD, it's been a little choppier. I shouldn't, say it. It is what it is, but it hasn't been as clean really since August, since July probably, honestly. But so that was the deal. So that was the trade. Now this breaking candle retest fail. I know it's probably too many words. But the reason why I call it that is because here's the theory or the idea. I went back through the entire month of September, every single trade, and I found that obviously on losing trades, we had the breaking candle end up, or most actually, some of them I stopped myself out early before they ended up working. The breaking candle, once that low of day is breached, the trade is, it's generally going to lose it, right? Or I end up losing on those trades. So what I've decided to do is I was like, okay, I'm going to come in here and just mark this off. So here's my level, right? This low, this is the candle that breaks, right? Break the high of the day. When the low of that candle is breached, okay? When the low of that candle is breached, so that's right here, 422.11, that is the stop loss, okay? That would have stopped me out like somewhere in here. I ended up getting stopped out here. It was close enough, honestly. But when that happens, that is what I need to do. It will save me. It will make my risk reward better, A, and B, it will save me from holding larger losers that aren't going to work anyway. Because the momentum is not there, just move on. That is essentially what it tells me and what I need to stick to. So that was that. Let's see if I can go to the next trade. The next trade was also on NVIDIA. This was not system. There's not much to talk about here. Pretty, I'll say, dumb. The theory behind this was market starts to bounce back. What I noticed was we came back down. Yeah, we did break below that low here, right? That breaking candle low, but we still held this VWAP. We held the 9 EMA kind of, I think. And so I got back in case it held, and I had a stop loss quickly under that low, which then stopped me out. So I lost, I could have saved $30, but that's not system. I thought it was maybe a flaw in my stop loss, but it was not. We ended up going lower, so nothing really to get mad about there. Higher time frame not aligned is what I add as a mistake. That's the only thing, but I honestly am not going to get that mad about that on Tesla and NVIDIA. Those aren't as big a deal. Obviously, would I have traded, fucking Apple? No. Apple's like, it's proven to me, don't do that. But same thing here, right? So you had this kind of grind, right? And Tesla's getting up over this 244 level. It gets above that, pops to a new high of day. I don't trade that. But I then see it building higher lows and putting in a pretty nice and pretty clean level right here. That's a small little, there it is, a little thicker. The color should be black to make it easier to see. Puts in a nice high right here, and then you've got pressure up into that high, right? So that's telling me, hey, we break that, get in. And I did, and then I stopped myself out very quickly as it broke below the low of the breaking candle. Because when we have a low, or the low of the breaking candle breaks, that means this breakout's not happening right now. Don't worry, no momentum's here. Don't move on. I have not been able to find this month many, if any, situations where we have a move like I'm talking about here, where like it breaks the high, comes back under, and then snaps back and goes. I thought that Tesla was going to do it here, and it kind of did, but then it fell right back off. So you still barely, I would have maybe been able to sneak like 5%, 10% of my trade, maybe I'm not, but nah, it was not momentum. It was no momentum, no follow through. So then it came back down, would have stopped me out no matter what anyway. So that was that. So again, by doing that, right, it keeps the risk pretty tight. So only losing $50 when, on average, not on average, but like, $100 is kind of like the threshold. Like I usually frame the trade saying, hey, where's 100? Where's the risk? What are the contracts I got to trade for this to be inside of 100? But now it makes it a lot better. But overall, right, the context is not there. You probably need some more time for the market to kind of bounce for us to play longs, you'd think. But of course, that could change anytime. We shall see. This week picks up in terms of we've got more people, more news coming as the week goes on. And we'll see. Not to mention, the 10-year is continuing to go to new highs. TOT's making new lows of this past decade. So, you know, that's pressure on the markets, it seems like, you would think, right? But with that said, I'm going to wrap things up for this video. I'll leave links to TradeZilla to track everything like we did right here down below this video. But red day today, it is what it is. A lot of small little paper cuts, not bad, but also like it's just the continuing annoyance is there. And of course, you know, now you get people, guys, like the reality of this is like, here's my view on all this stuff. I have to go through, I have never traded this strategy during these months, never. So I need to go through like probably a good year of this strategy specifically to have a really good feel for how it operates in different environments, when you see certain things, what happens, all of these things, so that now you've got a much better feel for like when to say no, when to say yes, when to walk away, all this stuff. Anything can work. Breakout can work. Dip buy can work. This fucking crazy, you know, sequence of events, you need to get a doji, breakdown, rip, reversal, break of structure. We need a gap fill, fair value gap. All this has to happen, and then I enter. Like, you can, that could work too. There's nothing against that. That could work. The reality is that you have to craft a way to minimize when it doesn't work and then maximize when it does. So if you were to go back, like I said before, like no one probably watches the end of the video, right? But if you were to go back to April, May, June, and July, this strategy worked very, very well. It was operating very, very well. Since then, it has worked a couple days a month very, very well, and the rest of the time it hasn't been great. It has been it's really been a situation where like some of these moves are quick, a lot of choppiness, but there's probably been a lot of reasons and a lot of things that in hindsight now I can look back and say, hey, when I see those things, I just avoid it. I don't trade it. I walk away. And so what I really think is it becomes learning about yourself, how you act, how you operate under certain conditions, removing yourself from high loss potential days, weeks, you know, or even months, I guess you could say too, and then maximizing the good. And so really what I think it is it's minimizing the amount of trades. Less is more, quality over quantity, and that's kind of like the framework I think going forward. So we're again, I'm putting these up because I think it's a great way to see how the strategy works, see how the thought process works. Don't trade this. You're not going to trade the same strategy the same way. No one will. But it's hopefully a good way to see how I'm logging it, how I'm thinking about it, how I'm understanding it, and then how I'm now taking this data away and looking to potentially move forward from this. So thanks so much for watching. I'll leave any links, resources down below like always, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I got to get up. We actually are about to stream in about 1 minute. See ya. Peace.